stressed. But what does your body need to strengthen those parts of the body that you just stressed? Nutrients. It needs raw materials. So when you exercise and take good recipes of bioavailable nutrients in adequate amounts every day, guess what? Your joints are healthy. Your heart is healthy. Your bones are healthier than your next door neighbors or even your twin brothers who didn't do that. So you have to do both. If you're going to exercise, you have to supplement appropriately. And by the way, when you do, when you start to supplement appropriately, it's a game changer. Your recovery time is better. Your hand-eye coordination is better. Your endurance is better. Everything gets better. There are very famous professional athletes whose name you would recognize immediately if I were to say it, who won't go onto the court without our stuff, but they make him put it in a Gatorade bottle because, you know, the Gatorade has signed multi-million-dollar contracts and they give all this free stuff to all of these NBA guys all the time. And this is, again, the wonderful thing about medical nutrition because, you know, just like years ago when people said slavery is bad, not that many people believed them. There are not that many people that believe us. And I don't know why. I mean, more and more people are starting to come around, not really because they believe us, but because they're frustrated with conventional medicine, and they'll do anything. So when people by default or on purpose come onto our side and take our nutritional supplements and follow our methods, they feel better, just like Ashley James. I mean, they feel better. It proves itself. And, you know, this is why Dr. Wallach's company, Longevity, is so successful, because it works. I mean, you take the stuff, you feel better. You don't take the stuff, you feel worse. It's that simple. And this is the beauty of the recipe. You know, this is why some French Bordeaux's are really expensive, because they taste awesome. And there's a difference,
That's
right?
true. That's true. I'd like you to talk a little bit about heartburn, because it's prevalent across the board with the young, the middle-aged, and the older people.
Yeah, heartburn is, again, the M.D.s have gotten it completely backwards. And one thing I want to underline about this is we need the proper perspective on everything. Medical doctors are like colorblind art critics. They can see that that's a picture of a tree on the wall, but they are completely blind to the colors and the textures that make up the heart of the piece of art, right? They can't see it. They're completely blind to it. So medical doctors practicing reductionistic, allopathic, pharmaceutical centrist medicine are completely blind to all of the stuff about nutrition that impacts somebody's health. They cannot see it, right? They can't see it. And heartburn is a perfect example. A medical doctor will tell you that heartburn is caused by too much stomach acid, but they're completely wrong. Heartburn is caused by not enough stomach acid. And here's what happens. When you don't have enough stomach acid, all kinds of funky microorganisms start to grow in your stomach. And when you get funky microorganisms growing in your stomach does funny things. One of the things that it does is it squeezes and constricts more rigorously and more often than it does when those things aren't there. And it's that rigorous constriction and funkiness, for want of a more scientific word, that squirts what little digestive juice you have in your stomach up into your throat where there's no protective lining, and you got heartburn. The major cause of heartburn is stomach acid that is too weak. And the major cause of stomach acid that is too weak is a calcium deficiency, but much more importantly, strap on your seatbelts, folks, a salt deficiency. Heartburn, most of the time, is a simple deficiency in table salt. Table salt. Let me say that one more time. Table salt. Start putting salt on your food. There's no relationship between high blood pressure and salt intake, and that was proven in 1958 by a guy from Harvard University. There's no relationship between salt intake and high blood pressure. Salt is an extremely important nutrient for health.
Now, I did interview Dr. Brownstein about thyroid and salt and iodine. What kind of salt are you talking about?
Morton's iodized table salt. Morton's iodized table salt. The only reason to use Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt is because those types of salt have extra minerals in them. And extra minerals are good. But the extra minerals in those salts will not supply your body with all of the minerals that your body needs. It's a poor recipe. So if you're taking the longevity line of products that provide your body with all 91 essential nutrients that it needs, including all of the minerals that you need in colloidal, bioavailable, organic forms, your mineral needs are completely met. And you don't need to worry about buying expensive mineralized salt to up the ante with your nutrition because you've already handled that with the nutritional supplements, right? So if you're supplementing correctly with bioavailable nutrients, you just need salt, normal table salt. You want to throw a little iodine in it, all the better.
I think it's fascinating that you're actually having a correlation between salt intake. I know you talked about the calcium, not enough of the right calcium, and that actually our stomach acid is not strong enough. But I also think it's interesting that you're talking about a correlation between not enough salt intake and heartburn, which is fascinating. I have not heard that before.
So salt, when you break it down, biochemically is NaCl, it's sodium chloride. Stomach acid is HCl, hydrochloric acid. Your body needs the chlorine molecule, the Cl part of the HCl from table salt. So your body needs the chlorine in order to make strong stomach acid, and the most easiest way to get that is through table salt. And then the chief cells of your stomach, which actually secrete the stomach acid, need calcium in order to do that. So you need the chlorine from table salt to make stomach acid, and you need calcium to secrete it. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing.
And the irony of ironies, right, is if your stomach acid is too weak, you are unable to pull the calcium out of food. You can't do it. And this is one of the other biggest myths, is this ridiculous notion. I don't know who started this, but this belief has caused more pain and suffering than all world wars put together. It is the ridiculous false belief that you can get all of the nutrition that the human body needs just from eating food. You can't do it. It's impossible. It is impossible to fulfill the body's nutritional needs just by eating food. You can't do it. It is impossible. You cannot do it.
What do you think about acidophilus and those types of probiotics? What is your stand about that? What does your experience and your expertise tell us?
Well, they're fabulous. The human digestive tract is this, very complex organization of symbiotic bacteria and, digestive enzymes. And it's like one gigantic symphony, all working together. And the human digestive tract is kind of like a shoebox, right? There's only so much room in that box. And in a healthy digestive tract, the shoebox is filled with a little bit of yeast, a little bit of fungus, and a little bit of bad bacteria, and mostly filled with beneficial bacteria, which in common parlance would be referred to as acidophilus. So most of the shoebox, so to speak, is filled with beneficial bacteria. But just like in the world, back in the day, like in the gangs of New York, it was all turf war between the Irish and the Italians and everybody else, right? And everybody marked out their own turf, right? Well, when the beneficial bacteria in your gut are eliminated, the bad bacteria that are in there all of a sudden have room inside of the box to grow. And so there's a turf war going on all the time. And one of the worst offenders, which eliminates the beneficial bacteria, is antibiotics. So when people go on antibiotics, especially for more than 5 days, the beneficial bacteria in your gut gets destroyed, and that gives the bad